Hello everybody and welcome back to Weeknight Hero. As always, I'm your GM Evan. After I released the Homebrew Rules video, I was thinking a little bit more about the ways you can convert Mutants and Masterminds into a ubiquitous and versatile system just like Dungeons and Dragons. One way I was thinking of doing that is converting it into an anime-style game. Now, the origins of this come up with mostly just doing market research on the types of games that people play with Mutants and Masterminds, the kind of characters that they create, and you spend a lot of time online on Reddit. And what I've come to understand is a very popular way to play Mutants and Masterminds is in the anime setting. In fact, I've done it numerous times. I've done it with Naruto, with my family. I've done it with friends playing online years ago. And it got me thinking that while there have been anime supplements and ways that you can convert it into anime, manga, Japanese media, I wanted to add my spin on the work that's already out there. So here's some of the rules I've created to run an anime-inspired Mutants and Masterminds campaign. First things first is that you're moving the number of power points you have per power level from 15 to 20. So one of the main things I realized when you convert it over into a more anime-inspired setting is it's very different from comics. And one of the key ways is that it bridges the gap between a traditional cartoon and a hyper-realistic medium that you'll see a lot of the times, like in movies, action movies, anything like that. It kind of goes in between, because the number of times that I've seen in anime, you have children who are capable of doing things that even adults couldn't do, feats of strength and endurance that you don't typically see an adult in the real world doing. You start to realize that the physics of anime are a little bit different. So that also plays an effect into the types of skill checks and the types of ability scores that you have, because you now have to assume it is reasonable for particularly a shonen anime character to survive things that wouldn't be considered possible with the Mutants and Masterminds Dungeons and Dragons rule set. The reality is just different. Falling from 50 feet up is something that's completely normal in a lot of shonen fighting anime. Or being knocked through a wall is something that barely even registers as an injury. So the easiest way to convert that into an area that makes sense is to firstly offer more power points. And in doing so, it allows you to spend more on ability scores, it allows you to spend more on saves, so that even a lower level character, if your character's power level 4, they would get 60 power points to spend across all of their powers and abilities. So they'll be rather weak in general, they'll be a little closer to a baseline human, and the types of skill checks and hazards that they experience are much more closer to reality. If you're doing even the same thing with a more anime-inspired setting and you bump it up to 20, you now have 80 power points to spend. So that can be spent on taking the number of immunities or movement powers that you need so that a fall doesn't really hurt you. That's taking the regeneration power even at baseline so that you're recovering from a broken arm much, much faster than you would ever see in real life, which allows even baseline characters to do something like take a bullet. It has been probably 30 or 40 years since a character in Dragon Ball has been scared of a regular person with a gun. That's not the case in a street level setting or in a low power level Mutants and Masterminds campaign. The next way you can convert your campaign into an anime setting is by bringing the knockback rules in from the Game Master's Guide of Mutants and Masterminds. So what's knockback? That if your characters are super strong and moving super fast, they can hit with enough force to knock someone 60, 100, 300 feet away. This is a hallmark of any shonen fighting anime, where the strength of their attack shouldn't just be shown in hitting somebody. If you're hitting somebody with the relative speeds that these people are fighting at, you're creating enough force to create shockwaves that can even affect people outside of the attack. And the effect knockback is just another way that you can add creativity to the game. It expands the realm of options that you're in. When you're knocked back 500 feet, it already lets you know how dangerous your opponent is if they can knock somebody off into the sunset. And if you're punching somebody into lava, they're both taking the damage from your attack and anything that they run into. So if they end up touching lava or falling into the pool of lava, they're now damaged again. The next way that you can convert Mutants and Masterminds into a more anime-focused setting is with Ability Strain. Now, Ability Strain is another optional rule you get out of the Game Master's Guide that can be used in conjunction with extra effort and hero points, or they can be used as a replacement for them. So what is Ability Strain? So Ability Strain allows you to momentarily boost the roll that you're going to make. So you're going to establish what it applies to. So if it's for an attack, it's for that. It can be for an investigation check. It can be for a power check. It can be used on your roll to recover so that you're recovering even faster than a normal human would. With the caveat that after the effect or the check is made and it's completed, you now receive that same level of penalty for the next checks you make until there's a time for you to rest. Going all the way up to a +5 bonus followed by a -5 penalty. So it adds just a little more flexibility with Mutants and Masterminds by allowing you to bolster yourself even higher than you normally would. This is perfect for those big action spreads that you see in a lot of shonen anime, or the big combos that they're doing, which make more sense for that medium and are a translation from the purely numerical rule system of Mutants and Masterminds. Because what makes your big attack and really sell how monumental it is without doing something like that? Because in the traditional rules, you would need to use extra effort, and you would even need to have another advantage, such as extraordinary effort and or untapped potential, in order to really get the bolstering effect that shows you're going beyond your normal limits. And of course, you can even combine the two together, where you are now getting that +5 bonus to your attack check by doing a big combo attack, and you can forego taking the -5 penalty afterwards by spending a hero point. I would also consider it one of the few ways that you can have a supportive boost and or buffing power, is you're using your ability strain to get into a fighting mode, to get serious or to cut loose. Now that's what I'd really consider going plus ultra. But that about wraps it up for this video. Stay tuned for more Mutants and Masterminds content. And as always, continue to like, comment, subscribe. I love to hear your questions. I love to hear the way you guys play the game. So continue to spread the word. See you guys soon.